Hi, I'm going to jump right into some bite down boxing talk presented by the Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. My name is Wood. I had some, there's 2 weeks in a row, big boxing weekends, and I had a house full of people and or guests to entertain, and I was not able to do what I normally do in terms of commenting or write ups of the fights or getting together any follow up stories. And there were quite a few to pick from this weekend with the decision between Shannon Courtenay and Rachel Ball, the decision between between Cecilia Brækhus and the new undisputed welterweight champion of the world, Jessica McCaskill. There was also the weight loss situation. I came on here and tried to give you some background information for that, with David Benavidez losing his, being stripped of his WBC super middleweight title after not making weight. Was there anything else? But anyway, one of the major things that kind of slipped under the they kind of just flew by us because it didn't end tragically, but could have, and was a bad look for boxing, was the fight between Israil Madrimov and Eric Walker out of of season 5 of the Contender. I don't know if you realized it, and shout out to Caryn Tate. Check out her piece over at Boxing Noir. That's boxingnoir.com. Very thoughtful piece. Salute to her on catching this and discussing it in depth. I don't necessarily agree with her views on it per se, and that's not to say I know more than her or my opinion is more official than her. Is all out of love, and I just remembered it when I watched it, and I want to circle back around to it. But definitely check out. She has some details in there that I think you should know about, and you should take into consideration, because I keep saying boxing is dangerous as hell, and that we can laugh and joke and disregard all of this stuff, but somebody's life is damn near and is put in danger every weekend. Every weekend. And normally things happen, and everybody dudes tap up gloves and hug one another after the fight, and nothing happens. Now, in addition to the setup with Caryn A Tate, actually, I just happened to sit down and watch Real Sports from Brian Gumble, and he just had one of the stories that were covered on there was the death of Patrick Day, which happened last October, I want to say. Damn. I was about to say they took it off of BoxRec. I'm just on the amateur thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was last October 12th. Incidentally, I saw some people a couple of weeks ago celebrating his what would have been his 28th birthday, I believe, which is actually 3 days before mine. So I thought that was dope to see friends of his. He's a very well-liked guy, and it was dope to see a year later that his memory had not faded. Check out the HBO Real Sports. Check that out with his trainer. I think his name is Joe Higgins. Just some more insight on what happened. There's some footage of the fight between him and Cleveland super welterweight Charles Conwell. Conwell did not contribute to the story. 3 brothers of Patrick Day were on there. His mother did not say anything, but she was affected by it. Just an interesting moment for boxing to be on that program, and to tell the story that it told. And then there's also some very interesting footage of Patrick Day that I would suggest everybody see, that represents him and in his finest light. So with that said, this is why I was looking at this fight from Saturday night, wondering what the hell was going on. And I'm glad that Caryn A. Tate had some questions as well. So we get to the 9th round, and it was a sloppy fight. With these guys all coming back and trying to do 12 rounds, I was in the press conference last Wednesday, I want to say. Could have been Wednesday or Thursday. I didn't get a chance to ask Eric Walker a question because something happened with my Zoom feed and I had to get out and come back in. But I believe I caught him saying he only had 24 days to prepare for that fight. If you also remember, season 5 of The Contender was a middleweight show, or everybody on there it was a show about middleweights. So he was up at middleweight and is now coming back down to fight as super welterweight to face Madrimov, and it's a 12-rounder. Then he only had 24 days to prepare for it. Now I don't know, how conditioned he is, how disciplined he is with his weight. But this is all part of the frustration. Part of the concerns with these head injuries is how much is your body going through over the last the last 4 weeks or whatever, or how did you get to that weight to make it to fight night? And how does that affect you? How do you rehydrate? So on and so forth. I mentioned last year when I was at the fight in Chicago between Conwell and Patrick Day. Patrick Day was the first dude that came out there and jumped on the scale with his team with some concerns about his weight. Now, I'm not trying to imply that anything was going on there. Maybe it was just close and they were just being cautious. But they were the only team that came out and stepped on that scale 45 or 30 minutes before the official weigh-in started. Okay? So Saturday night, Israil Madrimov, they get into the 5th, 6th, 7th round. Madrimov is kind of shot. He's not even defending himself. He's walking into shots and kind of like catching them on his shoulders. He's not even holding his hands up. He's running into Walker to stay close to him so he couldn't, get any extension on his shots. But it was very weird what he was going through, just fighting tired, which happens all the time. But again, you come back and now you have this dude has never fought above the 5th round, I want to say. Above the 6th round. It's just his 6th professional fight. And now here he is trying to go 12. It only makes sense. But he fights through that. He's shoving. He's shoving Walker a lot. Walker's kind of crafty. And then in the 9th round, I believe it was, Madrimov fires himself, propels himself into Walker with an overhand left that snaps Walker's head back, sends him flying back into the ropes and underneath the ropes. I thought it was a legit knockdown and the fight should have been stopped. That's where I differ with Caryn A. Tate. That's my opinion. The referee, Gary Ritter, he believes because he hadn't been on top of the shoving during the course of the fight, he allows the fight to go on, I think, and comes in this particular moment and says it and rules it not a knockdown, that it's not a knockdown. And then we get into the real controversy that Caryn A. Tate describes in excellent fashion. But from Ritter's, and he may have been a little bit out of, because and the reason why I say it was a legit punt, a legit knockdown, and I'm not holding him accountable really for the momentum of his body going forward as Walker is going down. And I think even when they showed it on the slow motion from the other angle, how much him and Walker came into contact was kind of difficult to tell for me. And it's not something that's not from outside of out of the realm. It wasn't completely unnatural, and if you look at the way that he sprang forward and the angle that it was at, he looked like the Wolverine or something, the comic book. So he springs himself forward and catches Walker with this left hand shot. Walker is damn near out before he hits the ground. Caryn A. Tate has her description of it. I'm not going to argue with that. But I thought the fight should have been over. So what happens though is when Ritter says it's not that it's not a knockdown and that he shoved him to the ground. This is the second fight in a row where, well, not in a row, but we just saw the Magdaleno shot against Yenfel Vicente or whatever his name was on ESPN, where he knocked out Magdaleno. And they didn't stop the fight. But you take a shot that knocks you down and knocks you out for all intents and purposes, and then you continue on to fight. Now, Magdaleno went on to win that fight. Again, that was a sketchy situation in my opinion. I don't even think I spoke on that. But that, again, when you take a big punch like that, that's just dangerous to me. If you take any more of the rest of the night. So, we get over. So, Eric Walker gets up. He's in bad shape. They don't want to stop the fight. No point is taken away from Madrimov. And then Caryn A. Tate says that she heard, well, and I think I heard it too, but Walker said he was dizzy. Of course he's dizzy. He was knocked out. But what I thought I heard that Caryn A. Tate doesn't mention, and I'm not saying that she was wrong for not mentioning that. What I thought I heard, again, I had company that night. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought I overheard Gary Ritter say the dude is concussed. I thought I heard him say that. Or somebody ringside came into the mic. Somebody said concussion. And I'm thinking he's concussed too. So I don't know why this fight is allowed to continue. Now, you messed it up. You didn't give the man the knockdown. You didn't give the man the knockdown that would have been a knockout. Okay, but the fight can't continue. The other thing that was kind of strange was that the referee, a couple of different things I said where it could be picked up. At one point in time, he didn't say it was a foul, so it's not like he could say, well, I'm going to call the fight and disqualify Madrimov. That wasn't what was said. So, and it was a very confusing situation. And this is what happens when you go to these states that don't carry a lot of boxing. And this is why I'm talking about this, because when the fight resumes, Walker does not look, he looks like he's cloudy. His mind is cloudy. He was looking at the ground a lot. He gets knocked down in the 12th round. He was strictly fighting on he was fighting on autopilot, muscle memory. Throw a couple of punches and duck. Tie up, duck. Throw a couple of punches and duck. Move around. It was all instinct. And Madrimov is, of course, he's recharged. He's charged up because he had this big moment. He beats on Eric Walker for another 3 rounds. Where the hell is Eric Walker's corner? And then I thought when he got knocked down, he took a good shot to get knocked down when he was knocked down. It should have been over then. That's the second big shot that he's taken. His corner should have stopped that. Like, somebody has to be on the fighter's team. Caryn A. Tate made a great point that that Sergio Mora and I can't think of my man's name, Ty Gresham, they're doing their thing and somewhat. They were still focused on the fact that it wasn't called a knockdown. That's what they were talking about for the most part. But again, after this 12th round knockout, the fight should be over. That's 2 big shots that this man has taken to the head. He's not really defending himself. And if you look at him, he looks nothing like he did at the beginning of the fight. What is there left to prove? But they think they still have a chance because even with the knockout, it was kind of questionable where it was. The scores ended up being 116, 111, and then 116, 110 twice. But again, if you look at the entirety or all of the details here, they risked Eric Walker's life for this meaningless fight. It was a WBA eliminator. I think it was a WBA eliminator, or maybe a WBA interim title was what it was, which is an eliminator. They don't even have that detail listed on here. That interim belt, whatever. I heard it both ways: the interim belt and then the eliminator. So that's basically my concern, man. Is that I hope and Eric Walker, after a couple minutes after the fight was over and he was in his corner for a little bit, he did walk over to Madrimov's corner and tap gloves and congratulate the winning team and the winning fighter, and they hugged and fist bumped and all of that stuff, man. But this is very easily a situation where he could have been hurt. We all know his story coming home from prison. We all saw his family and his children on The Contender. "24 days to prepare for a 12-round fight against one of the, highly touted super welterweights that's getting ready to challenge for a world title, in theory. And this is another, this is an interesting scene because it's, it was another chance where it could have been a very bad look. And you can't blame the situation with Pat Day totally on the Zone. And matter of fact, the Zone, Matchroom Boxing, they weren't even mentioned on the telecast on the HBO spot. But here it is. You're out here in Mulvane, Kansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They've had some fights in those states. Caryn, one of the brilliant, the very informative parts of Caryn's story was the background on the ringside physician who examined Walker after he was knocked down in the 8th or 9th round. And no one picks up on the fact that, in all likelihood, this man has been concussed. Tate also mentions that Walker told them he wanted to proceed. Of course, that's what he's going to want to do. Of course, that's what he's going to want to do in a fight where he probably thought it was close and there was a chance to win it. But he went and fought because he probably doesn't even remember fighting those last 3 rounds. He probably doesn't. Just like Timothy Bradley when he said with the Provodnikov fight. Don't even remember how he did it. That's what I'm saying. You could tell it was, if you looked at him, he was like looking down at the ground and just, it was a blank look about his face and eyes. He just going through the motion because he's been trained to do this for 10 years. Very unfortunate moment, man. My name is Wood. This is Bite Down Boxing. Don't let them count you out. Fights coming on UFC Fight Pass Thursday night. Week 4 of the fight camp from Matchroom on the Zone. Matchroom Boxing on the Zone. Headlined by heavyweight matchup between Dillian White and Sasha Povetkin, as well as another phenomenal women's matchup with undisputed lightweight champion Katie Taylor versus Delphine Persoon in their rematch from the controversial fight from Joshua Ruiz 1 at Madison Square Garden. And there was another couple interesting fights on there. We also, this weekend, we have former 2-time, welterweight champion Sean Porter up against this Fomella cat that they pulled out of nowhere. A lot of fights for a third week. So anyway, let me get on out of here, man. Enjoy all of it. Peace.